Hello everyone, my name is Rachel and this is the French Seams, and welcome to my year in review 2025. So I'm now filming this in early January 2026. I thought I'd go a bit festive, a bit sparkly in my fantastic new Linden sweatshirt. This is with a bit of crushed velvet I had left over from another project, and then this magnificent sequined fabric, black sequined fabric that I got from the wonderful ladies Bex and Adele from the Fabric Obsession. So I made this just before Christmas and really enjoyed it, so I'm hoping to get a little bit more wear before it gets put away for the next festive season. So 2025 was a good year in my sewing room. I had some wonderful opportunities. I was able to go to the Stitch Festival in London, which I love going to every year. I'm hoping to go again this year. I got to go to the Knitting and Stitching Festival, or Knit and Stitch I should say, in Northern Ireland in November, which was fantastic. I got to go to the most amazing sewing retreat, which is just an utter luxury to go away for a long weekend and just so fantastic. I was lucky enough to do a number of collaborations with some other fantastic sewists. I got to take part in various challenges, which was great, and take part in the challenges on Instagram, but also be part of the vlogger tours. I got to co-host a new challenge with my fantastic friends Sam, So Let's Sparkle, and Catherine Soverton Makery. We had our inaugural Sew Phoenix September challenge in September, so we're hoping to run that again in 2026. That was great fun. Thank you very much to everybody who joined in on that. So it really was a bumper year. Then aside from that, there was also social meetups, sewing socials, all kinds of things like that. It was just fabulous. And of course, the opportunity to do these vlogs, to reach out to other sewists, to be part of this amazing sewing community. So for that, I'm very grateful. So shall I give you a little rundown, because you know I do enjoy a stat. So 2025 was pretty good sewing. I usually primarily sew for myself, but in 2025 I sewed 3/4 for myself and 1/4 for others, which was interesting to me. I'm not quite sure what I make of that, but I think it's a pretty good stat, because I do sew for, say, my 2 little boys. I sew some little presents for friends and families, things like that. So that was a good breakdown. My main, and I pop up a pie chart here because I love a pie chart as well. Definitely the main things I made in 2025 were bags, and I think there is no surprise to anybody on that fact. Then closely followed behind that was dresses and tops. Again, no surprise. I went through a massive dress phase in 2025, which is wonderful because I now have a wardrobe full of fantastic dresses. And then behind that was accessories, which kind of covered everything, you know, like little things for the home and scrunchies and little things for the sewing room, all that kind of stuff, which you know I do love as well, little crafty makes, which is great. And then number 4 on that list is sweatshirts. Again, no surprise there. I think that's a recurring trend in my sewing room for sure. But these stats are quite interesting. It shows kind of percentage wise what I focused on in 2025, which is very interesting to me. I have been keeping a spreadsheet of all my makes since I started. So my spreadsheet shows the pattern, the fabric, and then the month I completed it, or whether it was for a challenge, all that good stuff. And it goes back to, I think, March or April 2017. So it's quite interesting to see what I make across the years. So what kind of things did I enjoy making last year? So I kind of had a look and saw which patterns I made on repeat, which of course is always a good sign. So I definitely loved the Boxy pouch by Studio 77. So that was a little sew along that the lovely Emma hosted, and then with the pattern I was able to make a few more. So I made a few for myself for little projects, things like that, and then they also made fantastic gifts, which is great, and they don't take long to make as well, which is wonderful. A top that I made on repeat was the Chasing Butterflies top, and that's from Pattern Emporium. I discovered this pattern late in 2024. I'm pretty sure it was because I saw it on the Sisters of Stitchcraft vlog, so thank you very much, ladies. And I just loved this pattern, and I've made it in a variety of fabrics now. I'll pop in pictures here, which I will do for all of my makes. A dress that I made a few of was the Elodie dress, and that's by Closet Core. So my first Elodie dress, I had it on my list for the longest time, and I did it as a collaboration with my wonderful friend Clare from Stitch Sew over here on YouTube and on Instagram. And as soon as I made that version, I almost made another one instantly after that one. It's a lovely pattern with great versatility as well, so I really enjoyed making that. The Davenport dress by Friday Pattern Company. I made 3 of them this year in very quick succession. I think I made 3 of them in about 6 weeks. I absolutely love that pattern. I made my first one way back in 2021. as per the pattern. However, now I add on the Tilly and the Buttons Lotta skirt instead of the Davenport skirt. The pockets fit in fine if you just kind of grade around them, and it gives a much more swooshy A-line skirt, which I prefer to the Davenport skirt, which has a ruffled tier at the end of it. So the Davenport is definitely the standout dress of 2025. No surprise again, the Donny shirt by Friday Pattern Company, a fantastic summer shirt that I love making. Made a good few of these now. It takes me about a metre. I can just about squeeze this shirt out of a metre with some very, very clever cutting. If you don't mind yokes being on the cross grain, all that stuff, I won't tell if you won't, but it's a fantastic pattern and I do love making it, and I have plans for more summer versions next year as well. The Emmie tee as well is a favourite. Again, takes less than a metre. You can do a pieced front and you can also just do a straight front. It's just a grown on sleeve, which again is fantastic for showing off a nice print. So I do have a number of really fun knits that I had last year that I was able to make a little Emmie tee as well. I think the Wicked t-shirt I think stands out as well. I think that was just perfect for that fabric. The Fringe dress, for sure, another favourite. I'd made a couple in previous years and I made another few this year as well. They're just fantastic. I love that pattern so much, and that was part of a fantastic collaboration that I took part in with my fantastic friends Sam and Catherine. Sam and myself had both made fringe dresses before, but Catherine had always expressed an interest in making one, so we all made fringe dresses, and that was just a fantastic collaboration. I think those dresses really showed off her personality, and I think that Catherine is in team fringe now as well, I think, but I do love that pattern and I would love to make a few more as well. The high cuff sweater, once I cracked the fit on that, so I made one last year, it didn't go very well, made a few this year and I finally cracked the fit in it. It's great for using up woven fabric, so it takes me just under a metre and a half of woven fabric to make a high cuff sweater, and then of course you've got your knit accents. It's got the knit neckband, the knit cuffs, and then this very interesting kind of shaped waistband at the back which gives a lovely fit. So that's fantastic for using up those little bits of woven fabric that you might have left over from a dress or another project. I think it's a really, really fun pattern. Another sweatshirt I made on repeat is the Remy sweatshirt, and that's by Petite Stitchery. So I'd made this early in 2025 in a lovely speckle knit fabric, a neon speckle knit, and I really liked it. It's quite oversized and I really wasn't sure about it initially, but the more I wore it, the more I really, really liked it. But that was quite a wintry version because I did it with the high neck, but then it also does come with a crew neck version. So then during the summer I was keen to make a more summery version, so I made it in a beautiful Breton knit with a crew neck, and I really enjoy wearing that as well. I think it's a lovely versatile pattern with the nice kind of detail of the cords down the side. I think it's a really different type of sweatshirt which I really enjoy making as well. The sepia trousers, and I went down such a rabbit hole of these sepia trousers. They're again by Closet Core, and I actually won this pattern in a challenge in 2025, which was great. And it comes in 3 views. You can make shorts, you can make barrel trousers, which I think was definitely a trend in 2025, and you can make wide leg trousers, and I made all 3 versions. I made a toile initially of the shorts as a kind of pair of pajamas, which I really, really enjoyed, and then I think I made 2 pairs of the barrel trousers, and then I did make a pair of the wide leg trousers as well because I then got the fit. So it's got a beautiful paper bag waistband, but it'd be very easy to take that out if you didn't want it. I did a little bit of alteration on the rise, so I definitely reduced the rise by an awful lot. They are very, very high waisted, so I was glad I reduced the rise by an awful lot. And the barrel leg, I'm definitely in team barrel leg for next summer as well. I really enjoyed that fit, so I made 1 pair as part of a cord in this really, really fun fabric, and then the other pair was a kind of a striped version, which I just love wearing. They are just a perfect pair for summer. It's absolutely beautiful fabric. And then the wide leg, I just managed to make them just as the weather turned, but I was very, very glad I did. So I'm really looking forward to wearing all those trousers again next summer. The next up then is the Southbank. So that it comes as a sweater and a sweater dress. I've only ever made the sweater dress and I really enjoy it. So I made one at the very, very start of 2025 in this beautiful green sweatshirting fabric from Dries and Stoffen. And then later on in the year, I knew I wanted to make a Christmas version because I bought this French terry fabric from Dries and Stoffen again, and it just sat looking at me for the whole year, waiting to be made up into a Christmas Southbank. And I just think it's a lovely, lovely sweater dress. It's really, really nice. I do have to add at least 3 inches to the length though. It does come up quite short, so I'm glad I did. And I really, really tried to get the pattern matching on that Fair Isle French terry, but I'm very happy with the result. So that's a really, really great dress. I would like to make the top version, but I will definitely be making more sweater dresses next year. I think it's a really, again, a versatile dress that you can dress up or dress down, which I really, really enjoy. So they are the ones that I made on repeat. Of course, there was a lot of other things I made just one of, and some things I would have liked to have made more of, in the kind of ones that didn't really go too well last year. So I'm very lucky that the majority of things do work, or I can kind of make them work. One thing that did kind of work, I'm kind of making it work, but I'm just cross on myself for the mistake I made. I made the Bertha Cardigan by Tilly and the Buttons. It's in one of her books. It's a lovely batwing cardigan, and I had this fantastic fabric that I bought from Bornella Fabrics in Stitch Festival last year. And as I was making it, I said, will I add length to the sleeves? Will I add length to the bodice? And I said, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Totally against my better judgment. I always have to add length to Tilly and the Button sleeves and bodice, and I don't know why I didn't. So it has come up a little bit small, but I think I can just about get away with it. But you know, sometimes your brain just checks out. So I'm just a bit cross on myself for that one. The other one which didn't really work out was a sweater for the lovely Mr. French Seams. I made in the Arctic pullover by Ellie and Mac, and again that was my fault. It's a lovely half zip sweater. I just made it in the wrong fabric. I had bought in French terry fabric and I thought it was going to be an awful lot heavier, but it was quite lightweight fabric, so it's just a bit flimsy for that style. But I would love to make that again in a more sturdier fabric because it needs a little bit of stability for the neckline and the zip, things like that. So again, that was just, for both of those, it was mainly user error. Nothing to do with the fabric. They were both lovely. Nothing to do with the pattern. It was purely my fault, and I will take full responsibility for that. Lessons learned. In the favourites category, the standout things from last year, I got really into sock knitting, as I think it's a surprise to nobody. I've now made a good few pairs of my lovely socks, and I love making their fantastic couch craft, a little skill that I loved upskilling on. And of course, I fell into crochet in a big way as well. I didn't know how to crochet previously, but I never really done a crochet big project. But last year I took part in the Sirdar crochet longs, and I made the summer blanket and also the Halloween blanket, and I loved doing both of them. And then I was a little bit brave and I made a crochet garment, so I made a sweater for Christmas, and I just loved doing that. Again, the skills I learned throughout those sew longs was just fantastic. So the knitting and crochet is here to stay. It really, really is. As regards favourite makes, there's a couple. I loved the Lazo jumpsuit, and that was a pattern by Helen's Closet. I think I had it cut out and made within about 3 or 4 days of it being released. I just loved it, and I'm really keen to wear that again next summer. It's a fantastic sleeveless button down jumpsuit. It's just a lovely, lovely pattern, and it was a lovely fit, and I loved the black fabric I made it up in, so that was definitely a standout winner. Another standout winner for me was my Takisha bag. So I've got definitely into bag making in more the kind of the vinyl faux leather categories, and I really enjoyed that Takisha bag. It's by Clare Threads, and there's definitely more of those style of bags in my future as well. And last but by no means least was the Belle dress by Stylark. I had always wanted to make this dress and was always put off a little bit by the Stylark pattern, but I found the perfect fabric for it, this beautiful blue fabric from Rainbow Fabrics, and I really wanted to make a floaty summery dress, and yeah, all my dreams were realised in that dress. I absolutely love it. I was so happy with how that came out. So those were my top sewing projects last year for sure. I'm very lucky to have this wonderful sewing room that I can call my own and just work away on my little crafty projects whenever I have time and space. So that's what I wanted to catch you up on for 2025. So looking towards 2026, hopefully there'll be some lovely more crafty makes, some lovely sewing, some crochet, some knitting, some bag making, and maybe another craft or two will come into the sewing room. Who knows? If you like this video, I would very much love it if you give me a thumbs up, and also please consider subscribing. Do please let me know if you had a standout make that you made last year and if you have any great plans for 2026. But if you do have a question or a comment on anything I've mentioned down below, please don't hesitate to let me know, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. So I shall leave it there for now. I wish you a very happy 2026 of sewing and crafting, and I will catch you all again very soon in another video. Take care everyone. Bye.